Listen, when somebody is trying to poke at you, get a reaction out of you, pull you out of your character, that's not a test of your anger. That's a test of your discipline. Anybody can snap. Anybody can yell. Anybody can get dragged into a fight they didn't choose. But staying calm, staying centered, keeping your power, that's different. That's rare. That's strength. And the people who win long term aren't the ones who react fastest. They're the ones who respond wisely. So today, I want to break something down for you. 5 principles, 5 mindsets, 5 ways to hold your peace, even when somebody is pushing every button you've got. Let's get into it. When you start to really understand human behavior, you begin to see that a lot of the energy people throw at you has nothing to do with who you are and everything to do with who they are. People project, people transfer, people unload. And when someone goes out of their way to provoke you, to poke you, to disturb your peace, you have to recognize that it's coming from a place of insecurity, not superiority. It's coming from a place of fear, not strength. Nobody invests energy into shaking the ground of someone they don't secretly see as solid. Nobody wastes time trying to destabilize someone they don't see as steady. So when you feel someone trying to push your buttons, understand this is a reaction to your presence, to your discipline, to your growth. They feel something about you that they can't explain, and instead of elevating themselves, they try to pull you down to where they feel comfortable. People only provoke what they feel threatened by. That's the truth most don't say out loud, but it's the truth that will save you from a whole lot of unnecessary battles. You ever notice how people who haven't done the work on themselves are the quickest to judge, criticize, or instigate? Your peace becomes an irritant because it exposes the chaos inside them. Your calmness is a spotlight on their turmoil. Your stability reminds them of everything they haven't handled within themselves. And instead of dealing with their own mess, they aim at you because that's easier. You become the outlet for emotions they don't want to face. A calm person is a mirror. When you don't break, when you don't respond, when you don't give them the reaction they want, they're forced to sit with what they feel. And some people can't stand their own reflection. They can't stand the fact that you're not moved by the same things that control them. So they push, they test you. They try to rile you up just to see if they can pull you out of character. They want to prove that you're just like them, even if you've already grown past that. Think about the people who've tried you recently, the coworker dropping little slick comments to get you off your game, the family member who always brings up something embarrassing just to get a laugh at your expense, the stranger online who doesn't know you but has the boldness to speak recklessly behind a screen. None of this is accidental. None of this is random. People don't poke without a purpose. It might not be a purpose they admit to, but it's a purpose that exists. Because provoking someone is an attempt at control. The moment you react, the moment you break your own peace to meet them in the chaos, they feel like they won. They feel like they got inside your head, like they moved you emotionally, like they pulled you into a space you didn't choose. And the wild part is, most of these people don't even understand why they're doing it. Their behavior is coming from ego, insecurity, resentment, jealousy, or internal battles they haven't named yet. But regardless of where it comes from, your power lies in recognizing that it's not about you. The moment you feel that heat rising in your chest, that moment where your voice wants to get louder, where your hands tighten, where that old version of you wants to step forward, stop, breathe, remind yourself, this is not about me. This is about them. Those words act like armor. They create distance between the situation and your spirit. They let the emotions pass through instead of getting stuck in you. I've seen people lose opportunities, relationships, jobs, and respect just because they couldn't control their reactions. They let someone else's low vibration pull them out of character. They let someone else dictate their moves. And the worst part, afterwards, they always regret it. They always say, I shouldn't have let them get to me. Because deep down, they know that giving someone your reaction is the same as giving someone your power. When you allow someone to provoke you, you're letting them steer your emotions. You're letting them rent space in your mind. You're letting them shape your behavior. That's too expensive of a price to pay for someone who doesn't deserve even a fraction of your energy. Your peace is worth more than their attention. Your growth is worth more than their approval, and your future is worth more than any moment of anger that could cost you something meaningful. When you really adopt that mindset, reacting starts to feel like losing, and staying calm starts to feel like winning. Because it is. The real victory is protecting your emotional space, The real strength is not allowing someone else's chaos to rewrite your character. And look, staying calm doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're letting someone disrespect you. It means you're choosing what's worth your energy and what isn't. It means you're moving with purpose instead of impulse. It means you're letting your higher self lead instead of your ego. There's a difference between defending yourself and engaging in nonsense. There's a difference between standing up for your value and getting dragged into an emotional tug of war. Knowing the difference is maturity. Choosing the difference is wisdom. So next time someone tries to get under your skin, recognize the game. See it for what it is, a test, a trap, a cry for attention from someone who hasn't figured out how to create their own peace. And instead of reacting, stay anchored, stay grounded, stay focused. Your calm is not just a response. It's a statement. A statement that you're not easily moved, a statement that you know who you are, a statement that your emotions belong to you and nobody else. Because the truth is, the moment you stop giving people the reaction they want, they lose the power they thought they had, and you gain the power you always needed. Your energy is the one thing people don't see, but everybody feels. It's the silent force behind your decisions, your discipline, your focus, your growth. And the crazy part is, most people treat their energy like it's limitless, like they can give it to anyone and anything without consequences. But once you start really paying attention to your life, you'll notice something. Every breakthrough you ever had came from being in the right energy. And every setback you ever faced came from letting the wrong things drain you. That's why your energy is more valuable than time or money. You can lose money and make it back. You can waste time and learn from it. But once your energy gets drained, everything else collapses with it. Your focus, your patience, your clarity, your ability to think straight. How you feel determines how you move, and how you move determines your future. Imagine your energy like a bank account. Every emotion you give away, every argument you entertain, every reaction you allow is a withdrawal. And some people walk through your life overdrafting your spirit without ever depositing anything back. Every time someone pulls you into nonsense and you respond emotionally, you're spending peace, spending clarity, spending time you could have invested in yourself. But every time you choose to stay calm, every time you walk away from something that doesn't serve you, every time you refuse to match someone's negativity, you're investing, you're growing interest on your peace. You're saving strength for the battles that actually matter. And the more intentional you get with your emotional spending, the richer your life becomes. There's a reason the people you admire, the ones who seem grounded, unbothered, focused, walk with a certain type of composure. It's not that life doesn't hit them. It's not that people don't try them. It's that they built emotional discipline. They don't allow everyone access to their inner world. They understand that emotional control is economic control. You cannot build a meaningful life if you're letting everybody withdraw from you. Whether it's drama from coworkers, chaos from family, arguments that go nowhere, people who call you only when they need something, they're all withdrawals. And you can't keep giving without replacing. You can't keep pouring without refilling. Eventually, you burn out. Think about the times you've had a heated argument in the morning and it messed up your entire day. You weren't focused at work, you couldn't think straight, your energy was low, your decisions were rushed. That's not coincidence, that's biology. A study from the University of Michigan showed that stress doesn't just ruin your mood, it literally affects your decision-making and problem-solving for hours afterward. One moment of anger can have a ripple effect that throws off your whole day. That's why protecting your energy isn't just spiritual. It's practical, it's mental health, it's emotional survival, it's keeping your life aligned. A lot of people underestimate how easily their energy can be influenced. You might think you're just arguing for 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes can echo for hours. You might think you're just checking one toxic message, but that message can shift your whole mood. You might think you're just entertaining a negative conversation, but that conversation can change how you treat the people who didn't even do anything to you. That's how expensive your energy is. It shifts everything around you. You ever notice how when you're in a good mood, everything feels easier? You think clearer, you move smarter, you make better choices. But when you're drained, irritated, or stressed, even simple tasks feel heavy. That's why people say, protect your peace, but rarely explain the mechanics behind it. Protecting your energy isn't about being soft or weak. It's about being strategic. It's about recognizing that every part of your life is connected to your internal state. Your goals, your relationships, Your decisions, your habits, they all feed off your energy. And if that energy is low, everything else runs on low power too. You have to start treating your energy like it's gold, because it truly is. You have to guard it, ration it, and invest it wisely. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves a response. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Some people need to be blocked. Some conversations need to be avoided. Some situations are beneath the level you're trying to grow into. And that's not arrogance, that's awareness. There will always be people who try to drain you, not because they're evil, but because they haven't learned how to source their own energy. They feed off reactions, conflict, chaos, attention, but you're not responsible for powering anyone's dysfunction. You're responsible for protecting your own balance. You're responsible for building a life that feels stable from the inside out. And that requires discipline. That requires choosing your battles carefully. That requires saying no when your spirit can't afford another withdrawal. As you grow, you'll start to recognize the difference between things that add to you and things that drain you. Pay attention to how you feel around certain people. Pay attention to what conversations leave you mentally tired. Pay attention to what situations keep pulling you out of character. Your energy doesn't lie. When something is draining you, you feel it. When something is healing you, you feel that too. And once you start really honoring that, your whole life shifts. Energy is the foundation of everything you're trying to build. You can have talent, you can have ambition, you can have big dreams. But if your energy is depleted, you can't sustain any of it. You'll move slower, you'll think smaller, you'll quit sooner. That's why the most important part of success is learning how to protect your emotional state. Walking away from negativity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Choosing peace isn't avoidance, it's strategy. And staying calm, even when life throws noise at you, is how you keep control over your future. So guard your energy like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Protect it from unnecessary battles. Protect it from people who drain more than they give. Protect it from situations that cost too much and offer too little. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you're investing in a more powerful version of yourself. Every time you protect your energy, you're building a stronger future. And every time you stay calm, you're reminding the world and yourself that you're moving with purpose, not impulse. Your energy shapes your destiny. Make sure you're spending it wisely. Silence is one of the most underrated forms of power. Most people think strength is loud. They think it's in the clapback, the comeback, the argument, the moment where you prove your point with more volume than the next person. But the truth is, real strength doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it moves quietly. Sometimes it speaks by not speaking at all. And a lot of people don't like to admit this because ego hates silence. Ego wants to jump into every battle, respond to every insult, defend every rumor, and correct every lie. Ego wants the last word. But wisdom doesn't. Wisdom knows that not everything deserves your attention, your breath, or your emotional investment. Your silence hurts more than your reaction ever could. That's a lesson life teaches you the hard way. When you're younger, you think you have to explain yourself to everyone. You think every misunderstanding needs clarification, every disrespect needs confrontation, and every time someone tries you, you have to show them how unafraid you are. But the older you get, the more you realize that reacting to everything is how you drain yourself. You end up fighting battles that don't grow you, arguing with people who don't matter, and explaining your worth to people who are never going to understand it. Silence teaches you that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Not answering isn't weakness, it's strategy. It means you're choosing the bigger picture over the moment. It means you're no longer driven by impulse, but by intention. It means you know exactly who you are, and you don't need to argue to defend that. That's emotional intelligence. That's maturity, that's growth. Some people don't deserve a reaction because their goal was never a solution. Their goal was chaos, and if you give them that reaction, you're feeding the very thing you claim to avoid. You ever notice how someone gets even angrier when you don't feed their drama, when you stay calm, when you don't respond, when you don't rise to their bait? They get louder, more desperate, more obvious. That's because provoking you was their mission. They wanted control. They wanted to pull you into a low vibration where they feel comfortable. When you refuse to give them that, you expose everything they're trying to hide behind their anger. You show their insecurity. You reveal their intentions. Silence reveals what words try to cover up. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. No explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. No defending yourself to people who twist every truth you give them. No arguing with people who only listen to respond, not understand. Words are valuable, And you can't keep giving them to people who treat them like they're free. There's strength in recognizing that you don't owe anyone access to your mind or your emotions. There's a story from an old friend of mine, someone who used to move with a lot of pride, always ready to react, always ready to prove he wasn't someone to play with. But there was this one guy in the circle who would go out of his way to embarrass him. Every time they hung out, he tried to make a joke at his expense, try to get the group laughing at him, try to push him into a reaction that would make him look emotional or weak. It was like a game to him. But one day something shifted. Instead of clapping back, instead of matching energy, instead of arguing, my friend just looked at him, calm, unbothered, and smiled. Then he walked away. And you know what happened? The whole room changed. Suddenly the guy doing the provoking didn't seem funny anymore. He didn't seem bold or confident. He seemed insecure. He seemed obsessed. He seemed like he needed attention so badly that he kept trying to pull energy out of someone who refused to give it to him. The laughter stopped. The eyes shifted. People started wondering why he was so invested in trying to break someone who clearly didn't care. Silence flipped the mirror around and he didn't like the reflection. That's the thing about silence. It exposes people. It shows who's truly in control and who's scrambling for it. It reveals who's grounded and who's shaken. It reveals who's living with purpose and who's living off reactions. Silence strips the mask off. When you don't give people the reaction they're fishing for, they get uncomfortable because now their behavior stands alone. No distraction, no emotional explosion to hide behind. Just them and their intentions. Let silence do its job. There's a level of peace that comes from not engaging, a type of freedom that comes from realizing your attention is a privilege, not something everyone automatically deserves. When you start valuing your energy, you start valuing your silence. You stop giving explanations to people who already made up their minds. You stop trying to correct people who want to misunderstand you. You stop trying to prove yourself to people whose opinions will never change. Peace becomes more important than being right. Growth becomes more important than being loud. Purpose becomes more important than pride. When you stop responding to everything, you start hearing yourself more clearly. You start trusting your intuition. You start recognizing patterns you used to ignore. And you start saving your energy for things that actually matter. Doors open when your spirit is calm. Opportunities find you when you stop reacting to distractions. You move differently when you realize silence can be your armor and your weapon at the same time. And the truth is, the people who matter won't require explanations. They know your heart, they know your character, they know your intentions. The ones who demand a reaction are usually the ones who benefit from your chaos. Don't give them that power. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. None of it changes your reality. You're building something bigger than their opinions. Silence is a form of self-respect. It's choosing to protect your peace over proving your point. It's recognizing that not every battle is yours to fight. It's letting go of the need to fix everyone's perception and focusing instead on building your truth. When you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, nobody can control you. Not through words, not through rumors, not through provocation. You become untouchable, not because the world stops trying you, but because you stop reacting to every attempt. Let silence expose the ones who move against you. Let silence reveal who's threatened by you. Let silence show the difference between your growth and their noise. You don't win by reacting. You win by rising above. And sometimes rising above simply means saying nothing at all. Your breath is one of the few things in life you carry with you everywhere, yet most people never learn how to use it. They think calmness is something that just happens, something you either have or don't have. When the truth is that calmness is a skill, a discipline, a choice you can make in the heat of the moment. And it starts with something simple, something so basic we overlook it every day. Breathing. Not the automatic kind your body does for survival, but the intentional kind that keeps you grounded, focused, and in control when the world tries to shake you. When someone is provoking you, when someone is trying to pull you out of your character, your body reacts before your mind does. Your heart speeds up, your chest tightens, your thoughts scatter, and suddenly you feel like you're being pulled into a moment you didn't even choose. That's biology, not personality. Your nervous system is wired to protect you, and when it senses danger, real or imagined, it throws you into fight mode. Back in the day, that response kept people alive, but now, most of the things that trigger that reaction aren't life or death situations. They're arguments, disrespectful comments, misunderstandings, or someone trying to get a rise out of you. But your body can't tell the difference. It reacts the same way every time. The beautiful thing is that you have the power to override that system. You don't have to let your body dictate your choices. You don't have to let adrenaline choose your words. You don't have to let anger decide your next move. You have a built-in tool that can slow everything down, a tool that can bring your mind back into the driver's seat. Your breath. When you inhale deeply for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale slowly for 6, you're not just doing a random breathing exercise. You're sending a message to your nervous system saying, we're safe, calm down. That long exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for relaxation, clarity, and emotional control. It slows your heartbeat. It eases the tension in your muscles. It quiets the rushing thoughts in your mind. You shift from reacting to responding, from chaos to clarity, from impulse to intention. It's wild how something so simple can change the whole direction of a moment. But it does. A calm breath can stop you from sending a text you'll regret. It can stop you from raising your voice in a way that hurts someone you love. It can stop you from stepping into an argument that was never worth your time. It can prevent a 5-second outburst from turning into a problem that takes 5 months to repair. Breathing isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's what separates people who get controlled by emotions from people who control their emotions. I remember watching someone close to me lose everything important in his life because he couldn't slow himself down. Someone said something slick to him in public, and instead of taking a second to breathe, he let his body react before his mind could catch up. One moment of heat ruined opportunities he had spent years building. And after everything settled, he kept saying, if I had just taken a second, just 1 second. But anger doesn't give you that second unless you learn to take it. Breath gives you that second. You don't need fancy techniques. You don't need meditation classes or long routines. You don't need to sit in silence for an hour or chant something you don't relate to. All you need is awareness. When you feel that heat in your chest, when your hands start shaking, when your words start forming too fast in your mind, that's the moment to breathe with intention. That's the moment to slow the whole situation down. You take that breath not for them, but for you. Not to make the situation easy, but to make yourself steady. Not to avoid confrontation, but to handle confrontation with clarity. Breathing gives you space. Space between the emotion and the reaction. And in that space, you gain your power back. That's where logic lives. That's where wisdom steps in. That's where the best version of you makes decisions instead of the emotional version of you who just wants to release the heat. Think about how many problems in your life came from reacting too quickly. Think about how many things you said or did when you were angry that you wouldn't have said if you had taken just 10 seconds to breathe. 10 seconds. That's all it takes. 10 seconds to save your peace. 10 seconds to keep your dignity. 10 seconds to make sure you don't let someone else dictate your behavior. And here's the truth. People who try to provoke you expect you to react instantly. They expect you to match their energy. They expect you to snap back. They expect you to lose control because that's how they live. So when you stop, when you breathe, when you stay centered, you throw off their whole plan. You take back control. You protect your power. You show that your emotions belong to you and nobody else. Breathing is your anchor when everything around you feels shaky. It's your reset button when someone is trying to push you into places you've already grown out of. It's the pause that saves you from turning temporary feelings into permanent consequences. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually you start responding differently, not just because you're calm, but because calmness becomes your identity. Life will always give you moments that test you. People will always say things that sting. Situations will always come up that try to pull you off center, but as long as you carry your breath, you carry your power. And you always do. You carry it everywhere you go. You carry it in every moment you face. Use it. Use it when you're angry. Use it when you're hurt. Use it when you're overwhelmed. Use it when someone is trying to provoke you. It doesn't make you soft. It makes you unstoppable. When you really sit with yourself and think about the life you're trying to build, you start to realize how much of that journey depends on remembering who you are at your core. Not the version people project onto you, not the version shaped by old mistakes or old environments, but the version that's growing silently behind the scenes. The one waking up every day with intention, with ambition, with discipline. When you stay connected to that version of you, you stop letting every distraction pull you off your path. Because when you know your purpose, you move different, you speak different, you respond different. And you protect your future like it's something sacred. People who try to provoke you, they never come with anything meaningful. They just come loud. They come messy. They come from a place of insecurity and confusion. Their mission is simple: pull you out of character so they can feel bigger in the moment. You ever notice how the people who want to drag you into chaos are never the ones building anything? Never the ones locked in, focused, or elevating? It's not coincidence. People who are climbing don't have time to provoke others. Only people stuck at the bottom do that. Because they're looking for company. But you're not here to give them company.